Hello and welcome to Move the Line, presented by SharpStack. Ryan Noonan, joined here as always by Connor Allen. 16 weeks, almost 16 weeks in the books. We had a Monday Night Football game here, Connor. Wild week 16. What's going on with you, buddy?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I had a tough week of props, but overall still, keeping it together. Some awesome games on Saturday, an awesome game on Thursday. Just like insane start to finish week. This is why we love the NFL. It was incredible.
It was. Some of these games we were talking here, like the Thursday nighter was so good. It feels like a lifetime ago. It was just coming off a full Sunday, 2 island games on a Saturday. The holidays, it just feels like there's so much going on. It feels like so long ago. But yeah, it's been a absolutely insane, wild season. Just 50,000 foot view kind of stuff. I went through show notes, like my show document that I use for this has all of our shows for the entire season. So I have all my notes on this one document from our preseason shows. So I'm like, oh,
nice.
I want to look at what were they to make and miss the playoff odds for some of these teams. And I went and looked because we're in a spot right now where we're probably, barring a couple of miracles, the Chiefs, Ravens, and Lions are all very, very, very unlikely. Chiefs, obviously not, to make the playoffs. And I looked at our odds, parlayed it. If you were to parlay those 3 teams to miss the playoffs, 57-1. We'd be laughed off the air if we came in here like, yeah, not only are we going to bet on these teams, we're going to parlay them at 57-1 to miss the playoffs. Crazy, crazy season.
That's nuts. That's like, yeah, I think that there were paths to think, oh, okay, maybe the Lions don't win the division.
Probably. The Lions were the shortest. They were plus 160 to miss the playoffs.
Yeah. And then like the Chiefs just like lost a bunch of close games, didn't really do anything early in the season. Then the Mahomes injury is like the nail in the coffin for them. But like, it's like, I don't even know, 5th percentile, 10th percentile outcomes for all 3 of these teams. Just like really, really low outliers here, it felt like. But, it happens. Like it happens almost every year where a team that no one thinks has a chance ends up making a run, and then vice versa.
Yeah, hard to pinpoint it, but it is wild to see. Obviously lots of different things influence that. Ravens were not a team that you and I thought were going to be out of the playoffs. We definitely didn't feel that after a couple of weeks too. We felt like, man, that's our Super Bowl pick. They seem to be like an absolute wagon. I guess we'll get to Lamar and the Ravens in that game for sure. But again, I want to remind folks, check out SharpStack if you have not yet already done so. We currently have a deal. It expires, if you're listening on Monday, it's the last day. Get in, take advantage, use promo code survey. SharpStack is good for a full calendar year. Typically, we got all sports feeding in there all year. Right now, if you want to get your first month, promo code survey for $10 gets you a whole month of SharpStack. It also gets you into a drawing to win SharpStack for life. On top of that, BetSports Golf and Fantasy National for life. So for life, it's a pretty good deal. Again, SharpStack typically like $120, $130 a month. Getting it for 10 with the survey promo gets you entered to win that. Again, we're having that drawing this week. So I believe 23rd is the cutoff day. So get in there. If you have any questions, let us know. Take advantage of SharpStack. NBA popping in there sooner than later. Turn the page here on football season. We couldn't wait to get football in there. College obviously still to go with all the bowl season. WNBA, baseball, all that stuff. So check it out. Again, let us know if you have any questions. Come back on Friday for Prop Drop. Slop is on vacation. We're going to bring back an old friend, our guy Stu, Monotone Football. He's going to join Connor and I next week or this week on Friday for props. So come back 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday. But biggest takeaway, Connor, again, you think back, some pretty massive games on the week 16 slate. A couple of obviously noteworthy island games, I think, too. But what kind of jumps out to you from week 16?
It's tough to pinpoint one or two things here. I think probably the biggest takeaway would be that the Bears continue to win despite all odds against them, despite playing terribly for large chunks of the game. Like the string of quarterbacks that they've played against this entire year has just been I mean, completely outrageous. People like it's kind of lost that they played against Malik Willis for like half of this game or 3/4 of this game. Like Malik Willis is not a very good quarterback. He played
He
really well.
looked pretty good. I would say he looked pretty good. He played pretty well.
Looked, I think that's more of an indictment of the Bears though than it is about like how good Malik Willis is. Now he's strung together a couple of good games now with LaFleur with the Packers, but was largely nothing prior to his time in Green Bay. But yeah, I mean the Bears just keep finding a way. I don't think it's sustainable. Could they win a playoff game? Maybe. Winning multiple, I would be really surprised. But obviously, clinch the playoffs here and have a legit chance to win, to be the number 1 seed, and are very likely to be the number 2 or 3 seed at this point. It seems like
It's such an important game because with their schedule, again having to play San Francisco next week in San Francisco, and then they get Detroit in Week 18. Like there was a real chance that the Bears, even though they're jockeying for the division, jockeying for the top seed in the conference, that they could have missed the playoffs. If again, now that we know that the Lions lost, it's a little bit of a different dynamic, but they lost that game. That was a real possibility. So kind of a crazy game. Jordan Love with a concussion. Wait to see what his impact here is for week 17. But yeah, I mean, awful loss, I think, for them. We got the full Caleb car wash, right? Like just some insane athleticism, extending plays, missing some layups, and then it's just absolutely wild. I mean, the DJ Moore throw at the end was, I think PFF said today, it was like their highest graded throw of the year. Absolute dime to DJ Moore. Just an insane football game.
yeah, I mean, it was an awesome throw. I don't really understand how they quantify that being the best throw of the year versus other ones. I mean, it was an amazing throw. Don't get me wrong, but there's also been like his other one to DJ Moore was outrageous too. Like last week,
Last week,
like
yeah.
you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. They have their own methods, but it was an insane throw. And then the touchdown to, I mean, also too without Rome, without Luther Burden,
Yeah.
like you're throwing a Ja'Day Walker, a bunch, and then DJ Moore, who I think is good, but they're not at full strength there. And so, yeah, I thought all this was like they're just a scrappy, like gritty team. We talked about it with like well-coached teams in the past of like, okay, this team can win even though they're not great. That's kind of where I would lump the Bears into right now. Like, I don't think that they're on paper a very good team, to be honest, but like they win games because they can make it work.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, I heard today on Bill Simmons, the Bears are, I think I don't know, since like 1970, they now have the most wins going into the 2-minute warning of the fourth quarter trailing. They have 6 wins this season when trailing heading into the 2-minute warning of the fourth quarter, which is just absolutely insane from a down to down standpoint. Success rate, some of these I think tried and true advanced statistics defensively. It's just not, it's a below average defense. It just is. But they are opportunistic. I don't know how you quantify, obviously creating fumbles is a thing, interceptions, that's, there is something to that. There's just also a lot of variance in fumble recoveries and interceptions as well. Onside kick recovery rate is so low, and to get it in that scenario, in that case when you need it, absolutely wild. And they continue to kind of make their way that way. That's, I think, why we feel like it's unsustainable, but they deserve some credit. They are getting healthier. I mean, they did lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in this one. It'd be interesting to see what his status is, how healthy he is. They did get, Tremaine Edmonds back. TJ Edwards is back. Like, they are getting a little bit healthier, but it's still, I think, a average to below average defense from a down standpoint. But here we are. They might have the number 1 seed.
Yeah, they just play aggressive. Like Dennis Allen's is maximizing everything, so it's fun to watch. Again, just like, part of the problem is though too is like we've talked about how they play good teams to get in the playoffs. Like I don't really think that there's that many dominant teams anymore right now, honestly, like where we're at. So because like the Eagles, they beat the Eagles. Like the Bears just thoroughly
whooped them.
Yeah, murdered the Eagles. I think they'd have trouble with the Rams or the Seahawks, but like I think they could very well beat the Niners just based on the Niners. Like, I mean, half their defense being injured, permanently. But I do think that the Niners offensively are going to have a ton of success against them this week, this upcoming week. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty interesting matchup there. But I think that is it crazy to say that they're like the third, fourth best team in the NFC right now? I mean, after what we've seen, which is crazy to say, but like, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to argue much otherwise, unless you want to put the Eagles like well above them, even though it was just like a bad game, I guess, an off game for them.
It just continues to be the one sport where coaching can really separate. And I think Ben Johnson is really good. Not flawless, not perfect, but very, very good. And puts his team in position to win as often as possible from a down standpoint. And Caleb has, I think, showed that there's a ton of upside. Right? If Ben can polish him up over the next year or two, I think the future is exciting. And that's kind of where I'll continue to go. I know it's really going to be hard for Bears fans in particular to not get their hopes up, because it's been so dark for most of the, 40 years post Super Bowl shuffle Bears. That when you start to get a glimpse and you have some of these things happen, it's hard not to get really excited. But I think, level setting expectations from where you were to start the year, you wanted to get a sense that Ben Johnson's the guy and that Caleb is the guy. And I think that moving forward, and it probably is, a pretty exciting time to move into being a Bears fan for the next couple of years. Anything I think this year is gravy, but we'll see. They're in a really good spot, obviously, with the, hosting a playoff game at least. So,
yep.
We'll go back to the Thursday night game. This was absolutely insane as well. It seemed like we were going to have more Sam Darnold, big moment, just absolutely collapsing. I mean, this win probability chart tells you all you need to know of what happened here late in the fourth quarter, where you had at one point the Rams with a 97% chance to win this football game. Another scenario where onside kicks come into play. Any thoughts on Seahawks 38, Rams 37 OT thriller from Thursday night?
Yeah, I was worried about Sam in the first half again. I was like, oh, this is it. Like he looked really unsettled. Like he just kept throwing off his back foot and didn't look good for a large chunk of the game. And then they just pulled it together. And I don't want to put too much stock into this game overall. Like I still have some concerns about just Darnold in general, in multiple big games in the future, but they're a good team. Their defense is good. And, but both, I mean, the main story was the offenses here. Both offenses came to play. Stafford with 450 yards is just outrageous. And I don't know if, while the Seahawks have a lot of good players, it's obviously clear that they don't have any singular player capable of stopping Puka. And collectively, whatever game plan they had did not work out in that way. So I think they'll probably adjust some things if they end up playing again at some point. But I don't know. I mean, they're just both very good teams. I don't think I have too much more to add, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like I came out of the first game. I feel like both of these matchups, I felt better about the loser coming out of it. I felt like the fact that the Seahawks had a chance in that first game to even be in that game, considering that Darnold had 4 picks and that the Rams needed a last-second field goal to win. And then obviously the Rams were a buzzsaw, again, shorthanded, without Devontae Adams, and to be able to really just get it done with Puka. Dominating time possession, especially in the first half. I think Darnold had 6 attempts. You had goose eggs across the board for JSN, who still gets there, still manages 8 balls, 13 targets, and almost 100 yards in a score. Darnold ends up, with 34 attempts. A lot of, again, got it done late. He got it done when he needed to. Late fourth, overtime. They look really good. So, these are, I still think, 2 of the best, if not the best teams, especially in the NFC. I would love a third matchup at this point. So it'd be very interesting to see kind of what shakes out. Now, all of a sudden, Seattle's at number 1, but the 49ers have a really interesting path now too, to be actually the division winner, which is kind of wild. I feel like not that we left them for dead. I think we knew that they were going to be in the playoffs from the jump in the preseason because their schedule was so easy.
Yeah.
But in terms of them actually being a NFC championship contender, Super Bowl representative of the conference, I haven't been there really at all. But that actually, I don't know, might be realistic. They're going to have to boat race teams and probably score upper 30s or 40s to get there. But it feels like that's, maybe something we'll see coming out of this Monday night or this week. But yeah, these are really good teams. Not surprising. It'll be interesting to see, to your point, how they adjust with with Puka. I don't think they had Devin Witherspoon the first matchup. I think they maybe need to let him chase Puka around or do something. But again, that's good coaching, right? That's Sean McVay saying, like, I know you know how I'm going to try to beat you, but I'm going to find unique ways to get Puka in the right spot, in the right matchup, and take advantage of it. So, yeah, good teams. Philly wins on Saturday night. Not a lot of takeaways for me. Did not think that we would see much Josh Johnson, but again, there's some other quarterbacks this week that we saw that I never heard of even before. So, wasn't really sure what to make of that, but I guess they hung a little bit. But again, I don't know. We just don't have the level of gear that the Eagles seemed to have last year still, even though Barkley looked decent.
No, 10-5, still terrible vibes, I would say. Like, yeah, I almost think like it like the Broncos team that ended up winning the Super Bowl had similarly bad vibes and was like a good team with Peyton Manning, but like just couldn't win a lot of games. And then it just ended up making a run in the playoffs. I think that that's still within the range of outcomes for this Eagles team because they do have a lot of good players. They just like haven't really been able to pull it together from a vibe standpoint. Now, I mean, this Commanders team is not even worth talking about with Josh Johnson, to be honest. Like they're just left for dead. They got nothing left. So it just felt like a game that was basically over from, I mean, pretty quickly, even though the score didn't reflect that always.
Yeah, I totally agree. Two very unserious football teams continue to fight for what seems to be kind of the last remaining playoff spot, which is fascinating. Like it felt like over the last couple of weeks, we were going to be in for some like insane, like high leveraged football games in week 17 and 18, because there was so much to play for. And it feels like we've had some of these games here in the last couple of weeks, but the way things have played out, we're in a spot here. Like if we look at like playoff probabilities, this is current standings for both the AFC and NFC using the Athletic New York Times playoff projection. This is current standings, but if you look at like projected, nothing really shifts in terms of actual teams. It just is the playoff, the seeding. The only thing we don't know at this point is really who wins the NFC South, because the Ravens loss was really impactful. That on top of a Steelers win against the Lions, that impacted the NFC as well with the Lions dropping back. Again, like I said, it'd have been very interesting with what's going on with Chicago and Green Bay and Detroit. Like probably 2 of the 3 make it, but the Lions kind of took care of that themselves this week. So now, again, we don't even really have a Steelers-Ravens sweat. We don't really have a Lions sweat. Like it's just, there's no path forward for the NFC South loser to kind of back their way in. Just kind of a weird finish to what seemed like it was going to be a pretty dramatic, last couple weeks. But
this game was awful. I mean, I thoroughly hated this game. Like I every time I watched it, maybe it was because I was trying to sweat some Mike Evans stuff. Like the Bucks going like run heavy here just drove me up a wall. Evans couldn't really seem to get open from J.C. Horn a lot. It seemed like he was just kind of locked up a lot of the game. And I just continue to not think that the Panthers are a very good football team, and they keep winning games. And similar to the Jaguars, they keep showing us like maybe they are better than we think, or everyone's just even worse. I guess like that's like what it seems like more to me. But this was a tough watch for me, to be honest.
I'm willing to eat it a little bit in the Jaguars. Obviously, we'll get there. But I'm not taking an L on the Panthers being a good football team. Like it was a rock fight, and remember early when people were like really mad about Baker's MVP odds in like early October.
Yeah, and now he's
not how it works. And now they've lost 6 of 7, and they got everybody back. Like they have an absolute, really good wide receiver core, but I don't know. Ibuka is barely out there at this point.
He ran 15 routes or something like that. It was like super low. It was like 30%, 40%.
Yeah, running behind McMillan, Evans, and Godwin. It's just a weird game. It's like, oh yeah, they 26 attempts from Baker. I mean, Tampa or Carolina must have dominated time of possession and run all over them. Well, no, look, he had 15 rushing attempts for 50 and change from their 2 backs. I mean, you almost had Bryce Young as the leading rusher. Just a weird game. But now they hold the lead here, and they meet again in 2 weeks. It'll be an impactful Week 18 game because nothing else matters. We'll get flexed and we'll have an island game of the Panthers and Bucks almost assuredly. So we'll have to watch Rock Fight 2.0 in prime time because there's nothing else that's really going to matter. I don't think in Week 18.
Oh, that sucks. That puts a damper on my day and Week 18. That's I just did not like watching this game, and now we're gonna get it in prime time.
Yeah, it's not good. Bills play with their food a little bit. Continue to not really be like there was a lot of I don't know, just felt like national media coming out of last week's game against the Patriots was that we've gone back to crowning the Bills. And it was like, are we? I don't know. I just don't. I get that they literally have the best player, and that matters. Plays the most important position, balls in his hands. They can't really stop anybody. And I think that's going to really matter when you get into the playoffs. Defense tends to matter a little bit more in the playoffs. You're playing better competition, but this was not a good Josh performance either. Just not a lot of positives other than a win. At the end of the day, you just got to kind of check the box and move forward. And the Bills did that here. Any takeaways from Buffalo 23-20 in Cleveland?
Yeah, just another like underwhelming team. And I think it's criminal what pass catchers they've given Josh Allen. Kincaid only ran like 28% of the routes, 29% of the routes. And he's like one of their better pass catchers. Khalil Shakir is like nowhere near a number one. He should be like just a slot 3 for most, good teams. And I mean, it's just like tough when they play any reasonably good defense. They struggle there. Now they did run the ball. I mean, Cleveland's shown a little bit more cracks in their running defense, like in the last, 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
But pass defense wise, they're still a good team. Shitter continues to be super volatile, but this Bills team is tough. Eagles, dogs against the Bills. Like the way the Eagles are built, I think the Eagles could score a pretty big number here on this Bills defense through the ground, and then some big plays. AJ Brown. I don't know. Maybe I haven't done all my research for next week, but I kind of think the Eagles can win outright.
Yeah, early look there. Bills 2.5-point favorites, total between 43.5, 44.5, which is interesting key numbers there. But I kind of agree with you too. That even if we have some like poor weather conditions, I feel like Philadelphia is equipped to handle that. As important as Josh Allen is, I mean, James Cook's been awesome this year.
Balling.
Absolutely balling. Explosive. I think we'll continue to see his pass game usage spike up here as we get into important game season. But yeah, it was not a great Bills performance.
Eagles should get back Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter, I would guess too, which is like dramatic, like just the most impactful players in their team outside of Jalen Hurts probably.
For sure. Yep, huge one. All right. Chargers, again, another team that we like I think we continue to just bypass in a lot of ways. I just personally haven't taken them very seriously, partially because they've dealt with so many injuries. Justin Herbert has been hurt for most of the year. I mean, when you lose all-pro bookend tackles and like Herbert's taking 45, 50% pressure every game, that feels like it's going to be something that's hard to sustain, but no sacks, right? I don't believe that there was a sack. Yeah, no sacks for Dallas in this game, which was not what I was expecting. Amari Hampton is back. He's running well. Again, none of the guys, receivers, tight ends are really like emerging week in and week out, but like seems to be someone every week that steps up and gets it done. They're a really interesting team. I think they're going to be annoying to play. Like I think Jesse Minter coaches his face off every week. They're suddenly 11-4 and probably need a little bit more attention than we've given them.
Yeah, I still worry about the line and maybe we just see time to time they play someone with like any reasonable defensive line and then they just get, they have a really, really tough time doing anything offensively. And so the Cowboys without Quinnen, remember, were like just a terrible, terrible defense. And then they've kind of started playing better, at least run defense wise, the last since they got him. I don't know if it's necessarily all been on him, but it's, it happened to coincide basically identically when they got him. And so you mentioned like playing some Hampton stuff potentially. Quinnen was out and they ran pretty well. And I think that helps with everything basically. So I agree. I think they're a good team. I just have I think I have some concerns about the longevity if they play some of the tougher teams.
Yeah, Herbert's got obviously some questions to answer. Actually, this week in particular, they host the Texans. It isn't one of the impactful games of the week. The Chargers are between 1.5 and 2.5 point home favorites. Total just short of 40. Now, again, tough matchup without your offensive tackles based off of what Houston can do. And we remember last year coming in, that was, that playoff game where it was just a long off season. Justin Herbert having to answer the questions of what happened in that game against the Texans there. So impactful one. I think we'll get some answers on who these teams are a little bit more, but that's definitely one of the bellwether week 17 games. Any early thoughts there or anything else on this one?
Yeah, I'd probably lean towards Houston there. I mean, we're looking at like the last couple of weeks, basically like they played Dallas, Kansas City, who's, essentially checked out, the Eagles, who were missing Jalen Carter, I think, at that point, and then the Raiders, who don't count for really anything. And then they got smoked by the Jags. And that was like I think one of the games that stuck with me a little bit there. And Herbert had 81 passing yards in that game. So that's tough. So, yeah, I mean, there are always a threat for that to be in the range of outcomes, unfortunately. But they've also, they beat a couple of good teams. So I think this Houston game is going to be a great litmus test of like, have they figured anything out on the offensive line? And if they can move the ball, I think reasonably well, I think that's probably a positive sign for them going forward.
Yeah, the Eagles win 2 weeks ago. That was,
I
think, really impactful for them. And it was like, wait a second, they're still just kind of kicking around. Maybe we need to give them a little bit more attention. Again, that also impacted the Eagles. So the Eagles get that win. They're sitting in a nice spot too, especially if they go to Buffalo. Like, they would have been back in the spot for the number 1 seed in the NFC, and that did not go that way. So, I don't know any takeaways from 29-6 Saints win against the Jets. Except Tyler Shuck may be good, and that was
Tyler
second.
Shuck. Yeah, Tyler Shuck could be good. And what's the rookie of the year? Is that you're looking up here?
Yeah, offensive rookie of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, shrunk.
I mean, I think he could win. I mean, if got 2 more good games, he'll be like favored probably.
I think he's live too. I think this should probably be shorter. I mean, Ted had a good game in a big game for them, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like he can. Again, he at Tennessee this week for the Saints. Another spot where Tyler Shuck can have a nice end of the season. I think he gets the Falcons. Falcons in the division, week 18. We know the other division games. So he gets the Titans and the Falcons to finish. Like, he's in a spot where he should be able to put up some numbers. So that'd be nice.
I mean, it's good for the Saints. They're kind of like directionless, it felt like, for most of the season. Don't really have any good players. That was kind of the problem. It's basically Chris Olave. He played really well.
Yeah.
So he nuked, and Tyler Shuck has played really well. So I think that's like good. They have like some building blocks to the future for what seems like the first time. And I don't even know, I assume Kamara is going to be done or, do something else at this point. Maybe he sticks around. Who knows? And then Taysom Hill, 12 carries, 42 yards for his like final home game of his career or something like that, he said, which no one predicted because he's done basically nothing and not been involved for the last month. Do you think he's involved next week? I've been thinking about this already. Like, do you think he's involved at all next week, or is he just total zero?
Look at this box score. 1 for 1, 38-yard touchdown pass. He ran the ball. He led the team with 12 rushing attempts. 3.5 per carry. He also caught 4 of 6 targets for 36 yards. That's insane box score for a 36-year-old utility whatnot coming off of major reconstructive knee surgery. He hurt his knee last year in like week 18. I mean, I thought he was going to be nothing this year at all, and he ends up being an insane week 16 contributor. So yeah, I don't know how much he's going to be involved. I'm
going to reach out to the people in the know and see, because there's one way or another there's going to be value on Taysom Hill if he's involved like this. Again, there's definitely some value on some overs. There's also a legit chance that he just doesn't play and is like, or plays like, runs a couple routes and then that's it. And they just did this for fun because they could, essentially.
Yeah, because they can. Just really, an interesting game. But yeah, 49 attempts from Tyler Shuck, even in a positive game script. Just again, kind of going back to like the Bears situation where you feel like maybe you got an answer at quarterback. They're going to be picking not at the very top of the draft, but because there's some really bad teams. But you don't have to. I don't think they need to worry about chasing quarterback in the first round. And I feel like they have an answer at head coach. So those are, I think, really important questions, building blocks. Right, this team hasn't had those answers, and they've been routinely like just in tax salary cap hell for a very long time.
Forever.
Hopefully they can back up a little bit again. Don't really spend a ton. Get yourself out from under it. Then you can move forward and get some questions. So they got to hit their draft picks that they do have. But please, Saints, don't spend a ton of money in free agency. Don't sign veteran starters for above market value like a Justin Reed at safe. Like I just, figure it out. Another team that might have, I don't know what to make of the Giants at this point. 16-13 loss at home, again with a lot of Max Brosmer involved. Insane that we basically went the entire first half without a Jackson Dart completion. As someone who's sweating 5.5 catches from Wandale. I mean, he did get more than half of the 13 targets. But like, what do we do with Jackson Dart? I mean, look at what is this box score? 7 for 13 for 33 yards. He ran twice for 7 yards. Like, I understand we want to not get concussions every week, but like, he's got to still run a little bit. I don't know. Really weird Mike Kafka end of the season for Jackson Dart.
I would guess that ownership has stepped in and just been like, just don't, like, you're not our coach of the future. Like, like you're kind of just babysitting this till the end. We need to do everything possible to not get him hurt and just like basically get out of here. And so that's what I would guess. Like, there's no other excuse in my opinion for like what this was.
Yeah.
I mean, they were losing. I mean, there was technically neutral game script, but it's not like the Minnesota run defense is like super bad or anything. Like, they were not super efficient. Like, a little bit over 4 yards per carry. I don't know, man. I really think that like something happened here, and like I have no faith in Dart or anyone like doing anything, honestly, like the rest of the year. Maybe that's wrong, but it seems like they've stepped in or done something. He had two rush attempts, assuming both are scrambles, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's kind of crazy. Not a great box score.
You know what? Actually, someone mentioned something that, like, I don't remember where I heard this, but it was that like Dable was fired because he couldn't keep Jackson Dart healthy.
Yeah.
Like, not like, obviously he was probably gonna be fired anyways, but that was like the reason that they were like sent him out of there early. Basically, we're like, all right, just if you can't keep him, I'll be that, which would actually line up with this, whatever this is, like.
I don't know what this is. This is, I mean, they only have Jackson Dart because Daboll caved up for him. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's very bizarre. Seemed like a pretty, I don't want to say serious injury for JJ McCarthy, but seemed like one that might cause him to miss a little bit more time. So we might get more of the Brosmer for week 17. That's one of the Christmas Day games. So Merry Christmas. You get a Lions Vikings game. What a tough draw for these these island games on Christmas. Dallas against the Commanders, which might be Josh Johnson again.
Yep.
Dallas, nothing to play for. Minnesota against Max Brosmer. I mean, the Lions against Max Brosmer. And then you get Netflix game, Broncos Chiefs, which again, they probably thought was a banger. They probably paid a lot of money. We're really excited to get that one. And it's like, oof. Rough.
Yeah, you got Broncos 13-point favorites. The Chiefs just looked lifeless with Gardner Minshew against the Titans, which was awful. And then they put in who was the quarterback that they put in, like a Ludicon or something like that?
Yeah, was not familiar with his game. So he bounced around in multiple colleges for a handful of years. I believe he was a day 3 Steelers draft pick a handful of years ago. Did not know that he was on an NFL roster. Don't remember much of his college stuff. So
me neither. I'm looking right now. Yeah. 7th round, 2022 NFL draft.
Yeah.
South Florida for the last 2 years, or no, first 2 years of his career. And then I guess ended up at like Samford or South Dakota State, I believe.
Yeah.
Is where he finished. So, yeah, I don't think that that's very positive. I think at this point they're probably just, I don't know, calling it a day.
Pretty much. I thought that could happen here, where there's a scenario where it's just kind of unprecedented for this Chiefs roster to be in the spot where they're playing in week 17 and it means nothing. They don't have their quarterback. The bottom could drop out. The bottom dropped out real fast. Obviously, it was complicated by the Minshew knee injury. He got good news. It sounds like no ACL, but definitely something that's going to cost him a couple of weeks. But I mean,
yeah, like what is this? Like this is another one of those box scores where you're like what is this? Like I was watching the game and it was hard to watch. It was one of those like I don't know what's going on here. Like this is not the NFL that I signed up to watch for, watch.
No. I mean, it's pretty rough. Yeah. I mean, I had it on. I didn't watch a lot of it, I'll be honest. I don't think I missed much. So
yeah, because there wasn't like anything to watch. I mean, Cam Ward, I guess, played okay. I mean, I don't know.
This feels like a week 18 game that, like, if it happened in time, it just disappears. Like a lot of week 18 games, but we got it in week 16. So yeah.
Oh,
Chiefs Titans, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And we get again Chiefs prime time this week. Another game that we don't have to dig too deep into. I like the Dolphins kind of finally quit a little bit after they've been battling for a little bit. 45-21. No Minka thing I think was really impactful here in this matchup. Burrow kind of did whatever he wanted to until he was pulled late in the game, but it was just a ton of Jamar Chase over and over again. Caught 9 of his 11 targets there. A-Chain popped a big one early, and then they had a hard time kind of sustaining drives. It just didn't let Quinn Ewers push the ball very much. A couple of like bad turnovers in this game. Darren Waller got our parlay leg. He got 40 yards.
Yeah, he
Another
did.
play that I was like, 27 yards. 20 from Waller. So light. I'm going to play it. Like, didn't share it with subs. Talked about it in the show. I could have used the win in the win column. But yeah, Waller caught 5 again. Dulcich was involved more, but yeah.
It's continued the trend of tight ends against the Bengals. Like the random tight ends against the Bengals always just have nuked. Dulcich gets there too, 3 for 46.
Yeah.
Waller 3 for 40. Who do the Bengals have this week? It's
Arizona. So we can go to
oh man. I mean Trey McBride and Elijah Higgins.
Higgins is the play. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean McBride's already gonna be priced to like 100 yards. So
we'll play over 13.5 on Higgins or whatever he's gonna be. He had a decent game, I think, actually. They're the next game. Arizona in Atlanta. We see Higgins got 7 of 8 targets for 91 yards.
Where was that a couple of weeks ago? That I mean,
yeah,
we got over like 10 yards, and
I know
he couldn't catch a single ball. And then now he's out here balling. I mean, I guess good for him, but that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, they crushed, or he crushed. Falcons. I think this is their first win as a favorite in quite a while, right? There was the Mayo thing, like he's better than the Falcons when they're dogs, fade them when they're favorite, but Arizona playing up the stretch there a little bit. A lot of Bijan. I get the live bet Bijan, I think like over 30.5 receiving yards in this game. When like Arizona got out to a nice little early lead, like 10 zip. I felt like, all right, Bijan's going to be pretty heavily involved. As soon as I clicked, they come back, first play, he scampers for like 45 yards. Like, oh, that was the fastest live betting cash that I've ever had in my entire life. That one felt really good. So he's been a monster. I don't think I wouldn't worry about usage for some of these guys until next week, but even some of that is like case by case. So we should probably get a full.
Yeah. You think they start using a little bit more like Algier, like just kind of working him in a little bit. I mean, 16-16.
Yeah.
But like also in positive game scripts, like Algier, I didn't, I got to go back and see the distribution of like when he was used. But
yeah, that's a good point. It's a fair point. It's just the Bijan stuff is like, for you, I would just exercise caution to fade just because he's so explosive, right? So, I would fade usage, fade rushing attempts or something like that more so than yards for a guy like that.
Yep.
All right. Fascinating one here. Jacksonville 34-20. Broncos had won 10 in a row. They had not lost at home in a long time. And look, I don't want to not give credit to Trevor Lawrence, but I feel like Liam Cohen deserves a ton of credit here. They are getting it done without basically anything from Brian Thomas Jr. They leveraged, I wouldn't say to leverage their future, but they gave up a ton of assets to go up and get Travis Hunter in the draft. He's out for the year. We're getting it done here without like what we thought we're going to be there 1-2. And Trevor Lawrence, I think without a doubt, played his best football game of his career in a really meaningful game. They're now 11-4 in the 3 seed and still have a puncher's chance, a little bit of an outside chance since the Pats won. To at least win the division, maybe be the number 1 seed. And yeah, they look good. Credit to them.
I just can't believe that we started the year with Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, and we're like, oh, this is it. This is the combo. And there was some level of Brian Thomas Jr. got hurt and didn't really seem to mesh with Liam Cohen to some extent. And then same with Travis Hunter was just not really working. And now you have Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers, and Brendan Strange just crushing. I always thought Parker Washington was underrated, but never thought that he would be, 3xing Brian Thomas Jr.'s targets in a game. So, and Jacoby Myers out here just, catching all the short routes here. It's interesting and I guess cool to see them evolve, right? Because I think we've counted them out for a long time. Specifically, I guess both sides of the ball really, defensively and offensively.
No, 1,000%. Yeah.
But they keep
I'm
winning.
Still not
games.
sure they're good, Connor. I'm still not sure that they're very good.
Yeah.
I think that they're good enough. And again, this is goes back to coaching, right? Who is Liam Cohen has spent a lot of time with Sean McVay over the last 5-6 years. I think those things matter. I think Sean McVay is in the really small, if we're looking at, not a VR Mount Rushmore, but an actual Mount Rushmore of current head coaches, you can't make it without Sean McVay. And Liam Cohen was his offensive coordinator for a number of years. So I think he's getting the most out of Trevor Lawrence, who obviously has had a ton of natural skills. We just haven't seen it. We've seen some pretty below average quarterback play from a guy that's had some pretty lofty expectations and finally seems to be kind of meeting the moment. So they look like they're going to be a feisty out. Bo Nix was okay, but that's kind of, I don't know. He wasn't bad. He wasn't good and wasn't good enough in a trailing game script. Even though, that's kind of how they've been all year, has been in these spots where they've had some of this Bears almost fourth quarter magic, where they have a better foundation. They have a better defense, but they've gotten by with a lot of just insane wins against below average football teams in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't get it done this time.
Yeah. It's tough. Plus, you got Pat Bryant probably out for the rest of the year.
Yeah. That's scary.
Whatever happened there. The running games never got going. They threw the ball 47 times, had 15, 16 rushing attempts there.
Tough.
It's tough for them.
Yep. Let's see. What do they got this week? Jacksonville is on the road in Indy. They are 6.5, 7-point favorites. Which is interesting. They should handle that, but we'll see.
Yeah, that seems light considering it's Phillip Rivers, but we'll see.
We'll see. I think it's light tonight too. That's interesting that's 6.5, 7. Do you think, I don't know, power rankings have the Jags basically a point better than the Niners is about was telling us based off of tonight's line?
I guess so. I don't know if that's true, but maybe power ratings wise. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What do we get at? This is a wild game. I don't know. I just don't know how Pittsburgh wins football games ever. When the game's over, I'm like, what happened? How did we get here? 27-41 for Aaron Rodgers, who, is playing some pretty good ball. Doesn't really put the ball in position to have big plays happen or turnovers happen. We couldn't get any rushing game going for the Lions, which is something that we never see and is not anything that we've experienced all year against the Steelers. Teams have been able to run all over them at will. So that's probably the biggest surprising takeaway. Obviously, it was a little bit of the ref show at the end with a couple of pretty crazy calls. And then, you're the Steelers. It'd be interesting to see what happens with DK Metcalf, who decided to go in the stands and, punch somebody in the face mid-game. So
he has to get suspended, right? Like, I mean,
you have to. You cannot hit a fan.
Yeah, like, I mean, that was
I
crazy.
think you could not hit a fan. I think a fan could run onto the field mid-game, and if you just absolutely just knocked him out, you're probably still suspended. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I was in the stands. Like, you grabbed him, jabbed him, and then just walked back to the sideline. Like, nothing happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would guess he's done for the rest of the season, to be honest. Just if I had to guess, like 2 games probably serves it now. He shouldn't fight it. Just take your L and go from there. And then, but this game overall, yeah, I think the biggest takeaway was the Lions couldn't run the ball. And then when you put the game in the hands of Jared Goff, who actually played pretty well, I think it just increases their volatility much more as like a team. And so, yeah, 54 attempts is not where you want Jared Goff and this Lions team to be.
No.
On the Steelers side, like Jaylen Warren played awesome, had 2 massive runs for touchdowns. And so that was cool to see. And then Kenneth Gainwell had like a long catch. That catch was just like ridiculous. It seemed like, honestly, the Steelers were kind of just run pure, hit a couple big plays, and then the Lions like couldn't run the ball. So when you have those combination of factors, where the Lions are most vulnerable. Still a good team, but outside looking in for the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, they are. If you look at their playoff, we can look at the odds to make the playoffs. But if you just look at the playoff picture here, if we go to the Lions, less than 1% chance to make the playoffs. It's just not right. We got to have them win out, and then still they're at a 12% chance to make the playoffs. So they have to win out, and then what we would need Packers Bears to lose both games, basically, right? You would need. Let's see if that gets us in. Ravens beat the Packers, and the Niners beat the Bears. Then you head into the last week with at least 8 punchers chance. The Lions then beat the Bears, and you would need the Vikings to beat the Panthers. So yeah, that's what you need. That's the Lions' path straight up to beat the Bears in Week 18. Have the Niners beat the Bears, and then you basically, you would need the Vikings. That'd be wild. I want the Lions in the playoffs. They're fun, but looks unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, when you lose games against the Steelers, it's tough to recover from that too much. And I do think that, it didn't look like it for a while, but I do think the loss of, Ben Johnson was a big one for the Lions. This offense just kind of lacks some of the creativity I think that they had with Ben Johnson, and some of the just sustaining power, I think, offensively, just kind of missing from the Ben Johnson era. They're still good, and they still have a lot of good players. And Dan Campbell, he's no donkey, offensively, he knows what he's doing. Also, kind of the, dabbling in whatever offensive coordinator they hired in the offseason, I think was kind of a failure too. They really need to bring in someone who can kind of, they need not maybe another Ben Johnson, but someone kind of similar to that, because that experiment earlier in the year didn't really work out. Now they're now they're basically toast. They lost 3 of the last 4. So
I think both those penalties in the end were probably penalties.
Yeah.
The pick play just seems, it's getting called more this year. Just seems a little inconsistent. And I think Jalen Ramsey did a good job selling the push off on Amon-Ra on the very last play as well. It's another one that kind of, when the receiver kind of drives in and plants, that often doesn't get called either, especially in the goal line. So I don't know.
It would have been, it would have been crazy. It would have been if they counted that as a touchdown and without didn't call the PI, because they didn't really blow the play dead, even though it was definitely dead. You know what I mean? Because he lateraled it back. He took 3-4 steps back, held it, and then kind of tossed it. I assumed it was blown dead, but I don't think it was. And so they ruled it a touchdown, but with PI, then the game was over. So
Yeah.
I think that would have been crazy too, as if they were oh, actually, they just didn't call the PI and then they called that a touchdown, because that should have definitely been blown dead at some point. So it was.
Yeah. We buried that in the Thursday night opener. It was the craziest 2-point conversion I've ever seen in my entire life. I still don't know how that happens. There was a whistle. I don't know how in any other scenario, you can't advance a fumble, but in that scenario, you could advance the fumble which wasn't a fumble. It was a fumble because it wasn't an incomplete pass.
I
It was
have no
absolutely
idea.
insane. It was nuts.
This someone I was with someone like this weekend, and they were like why why does it feel like the refs are just like doing this and I'm like, well, because there's like infinite scenarios of things that have like never happened that like you can't really write into a rule book that are like like strictly. So like refs are just kind of like making up things as they happen, like based on the rules they have, and there's certain scenarios that just like have never happened, and you're just like, all right, well, what do you do now if someone gets 1 foot in and then starts bobbling the ball and then like then crosses the line but then has 2 feet in but then drops it and he doesn't make it to the ground? Like it's like the catch 2 weeks ago, who was it? Like it was I don't remember exactly. It was someone in the end zone and they like caught it. Oh, Isaiah Likely. He caught it, got 2 steps in, and then like got swiped out and they didn't call a touchdown. Like I don't know. I don't even know what the rules are anymore for any of this stuff. So it's just crazy. It's a crazy world.
Because that was the rules official said that's a catch if it happens at the 50-yard line.
Right.
But in the end zone, you have to take 2 steps and then have a not even football move, but like a finishing type move. Like he needed to then secure from here and like proceed to tuck it, or I don't know. It's so weird that the rules are different in and around the end zone. That's the same premise with a 2-point conversion. Like you typically would not have been able to, like Charbonnet could recover that, but he wouldn't get it there. It would have been like down the spot. Like, I don't know. But here, no, it's a live ball on a 2-pointer and 2 points, even though you technically did blow a whistle and the Rams stopped. So crazy. This is also crazy. I wanted to like really believe that the Texans are legit. I think the Texans still are legit. This is a bad showing for them. This is a bad CJ Stroud game. They struggled to run the football, obviously, without Woody Marks here. Really couldn't get anything going against, just a really bad Raiders team that showed some life. This is I don't really ever think that I thought that the Raiders were going to win, but they were definitely in the lead later in the game than I thought. 23-21 Texans Raiders. As just kind of a throwaway look ahead spot for the Texans who are reading the press clippings, or do you make anything of it moving forward?
No, there's just a lot of problems with this Texans team that, like, if their offense isn't clicking and, like, if their defense slips up at all, which they did a couple times this game, the big one to Ashton Genty obviously was massive there. They had another big play to Jack Besh, I remember earlier in the game. So you let up a couple plays, and then they run the ball reasonably efficiently against you, which is also relatively new for the Texans, who have played good run defense. Then, you're not quite the wagon that you were. Thankfully, the Raiders are not a very good team, and so the Texans still squeaked out a win despite playing, I would say, one of their worst games in a while. Like this is where they're showing a little bit, showing some holes for this Texans team here.
Yeah. And again, we know they're on the road against the Chargers. The Raiders are in one of the other more impactful games of the Week 17 slate. They are battling and hosting the Giants with the top pick in the draft on the line. They are currently the top two.
You think either of them like throws it? Is it what did he say? Giants, Raiders?
Giants, Raiders.
Oh, I think the Giants are throwing this for sure. Then, based on what we saw last week, I'll go Raiders here. I think the Giants are going to lose this game.
Early market opener was Giants -3 on the road. It's now swung to Raiders -1.5. So I don't know if the reasoning is the same as yours, but the market seems to be in agreement with where the market's moved here. So, yeah, I mean, and Jackson Dart question has got to be answered. The Raiders obviously don't have any long-term answer at quarterback. So you'd rather just be in the top spot and be able to decide if you want to take a Mendoza or if you want to be in a spot where Dante Moore comes out and you want to be well-positioned or something like that. You definitely would rather either way have the ability to have the more equity in the pick and be higher up. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Do we have odds right now? Yeah, Mendoza -200, Dante Moore +275. Mendoza's probably short at this point, considering I think earlier in the year we were talking about the Titans probably getting the number 1 pick. Now at this point they kind of played themselves out of it. It seems like. So looking at,
I think Mendoza is a pretty good bet at at minus 200.
Yeah,
It's crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We don't advise laying juice too early, but I think that's like when this all said and done, it's probably gonna be like minus 500, no, or minus 500 in like a couple weeks, probably. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like that's at least that'd be my guess.
Once we know that, it seems like there's a pretty good chance that Dante Moore goes back to Oregon.
Yeah.
Once that becomes official, which I think is going to happen, like Nike is going to throw a ton of money, and just how that's going to go. I think there's enough questions about him coming out. If he goes back to school, then it makes it a little bit cleaner, and Mendoza becomes the guy.
More importantly, Kevin Jennings is returning to SMU, so we get another year of that before he starts his career as a salesman or maybe something in insurance, probably. But one more year, baby. Let's go.
If he's in for the long haul, we just had Ola Dukin or whatever make his way into an NFL game. Just hold on, Jennings. Just get in there.
He'd be a lot more fun than that guy. I tell you that. It'll be a lot more fun than some of the shit quarterback play that we got going on right now.
Get in camp, man. Let something happen. Go out and win it. I'm still worried about the Texans. I still think they're a legit AFC contender because the AFC feels completely wide open. There was a Sunday night football game. It's pretty electric. At least in this household, 28-24. Drake May gets it done against a Tyler Huntley-led Baltimore Ravens team. It's just fantastic. I mean, that Kyle Williams ball. Oh. I was excited, Connor.
That was nice.
It was nice. So real quick, I don't want I want to be the last person to do this. I try not to do anything like this because I am sitting in a air-conditioned house at a desk with multiple computer screens in front of me in suburban Chicago. I am not a professional athlete. I don't want to question the I don't know what the right term is, but the chutzpah of a professional athlete. But we have a guy quarterbacking tonight in Phillip Rivers who's 44 and is strung together with just grit and determination. Played an AFC championship game on multiple blown knee ligaments. I'm not saying that a knee in the back didn't hurt or wouldn't hurt in the ribs. I'm sure it hurt a ton. But you're playing for your season. And again, without knowing the specifics, it seemed like pretty weak move for Lamar Jackson to leave that game and not play.
Yeah, I don't disagree too much. I mean, you got to power through it. I think, to be honest, I wasn't the one who took the hit, but unless you literally can't move, it's like you should find a way to be out there because
if you could move enough to get your uniform off, to put a hoodie on, to come and hang out on the sideline with your team, you were taking that, doing that type of motion, even you play ball, dude. Your team, you are up against the backs against the wall. Your only shot really is for you to go out and play and win. And when your coach at halftime says Tyler Huntley can do everything Lamar can do, that's an indictment on the current version of Lamar. That's not we're fine with Tyler Huntley. That's Lamar currently is limited and it's not good enough. And
I mean, didn't run a whole lot before that either. He just hasn't really had the same explosiveness. There's obviously way more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Yeah. And I think this is just he's probably stacking injuries at this point. Just got 3+ injuries and he's hit in the back and he's all right, well, just take me out of this. And the misery, which is probably, definitely lacks grit, but I would guess that's probably why he's out.
100%. Steelers won earlier. Yeah, I don't know. I feel again, I don't like this type of analysis. And I know it's clicky hot take. It's not who I am. It's not, I think, who we are. It's not how we typically do stuff. And I don't want to be questioning his toughness. It just seemed man, I don't know. It just seems like you got to stay in that game and battle. But if you're stacking injuries, this one hurts. I'm already pretty limited. This makes me even more limited. I don't know. As a Patriots fan, I was very excited to see him out of the game. It felt like it was only a matter of time where they were able to do something, again, with the limitations that New England's defense currently has. I'd rather have Tyler Huntley in there, and that showed up in the second half. So
Totally. And then the Ravens didn't give the ball to Derrick Henry like at all after a while, which was very strange. There's a lot of Keaton Mitchell down the stretch, especially against the Patriots, whose run defense has been legit bad since they lost Milton Williams, who I think is coming back next week or should be back next week.
Yeah.
And that is massive for them because I think that was like, I mean, a legit concern. It was kind of how the Bills got the best of them to some extent too. Or at least, for a while. And so, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's tough. Derrick Henry obviously ended up with a good game, but like I think they should have leaned on him a little bit more down the stretch.
Patriots at one point, I feel like we had lost like 7 or 8 starters / high volume snap contributors during the game. Multiple offensive linemen, multiple interior defensive linemen, which were already depleted to start the game. There's a lot of wheeze in here for me, so I'm sorry about that. But very excited about this team. It's a very likable team. The Patriots have not been very likable, or I'm sure for you, if you're a non-Patriots listener, you're like, screw you, they haven't been likable in 20 years. Totally fair. I get it. But Drake May, Steph Diggs, Matt Collins. It's just there's a lot of fun guys that are easy to cheer for here. So hopefully they get healthy in time for the playoffs. They get the Jets and the Dolphins. They're going to, I think, be able to do their part to get the number 1 seed. I think they're just going to have a hard time catching Denver at this point, who should be able to take advantage of Kansas City. And then they get the Chargers in week 18, and the Chargers could be in a spot where they're locked into the playoff seed, and the Chargers could sit some guys in the second half and makes that game a little less interesting. So Patriots would need the Chargers to go ahead and beat Denver in week 18 to get the number 1 seed. And I don't think that's going to happen. So either way, division should have the 2 seed, should host a playoff game or 2. And they're in the mix. And I think that's all you can ask for. Again, kind of another level up from the Bears as a Patriots fan coming into the season. I feel like we had the coach. I knew Mike Vrabel was going to be a guy that I was excited to have coaching my team. And I think we got all the Drake May answers and more. So to be an actual winner, I still don't think the defense is good enough. I think they need more consistency from Steph Diggs, who definitely likes bright lights. So my hope is that like playoff game, Steph Diggs is different than, noon Sunday slate Steph Diggs. And hopefully Travion is nothing more than just a little concussion that he come back and do his thing. But they're exciting. All right. Anything in the futures you want to touch on before we wrap?
I was just like generally thinking as we went through all these games, like this is one of the few years where I feel like just like a lot of these teams are not wagons. And we talked about it early. Like there's no Mahomes-led Chiefs that's just like has been good, but is going to turn it up a notch in the playoffs or anything like that. And so in the Super Bowl market, like I don't mind taking stabs at like, the Packers, who I think are going to make it, but are not officially in. It's 16-1. I don't think that's a bad luck. I mean, if the Jags play as well as they did before, they're certainly going to make a run in the AFC. It's like 17 is the best odds there. But even the Patriots at 10-1, I don't mind either. So like I would avoid laying the chalk here. I think the Rams are probably the best team, but I certainly don't feel as good about them as I did like any of the other, I don't know, Chiefs teams in the past, or like, we don't know the AFC Championship game before the playoffs start this year.
Agreed. Yeah, it felt like great coming into the season, and what we've had in the last couple of years, it's been some combination of like, all right, is it Buffalo or Baltimore that gets to play Kansas City, right? So we have 2 of those teams going to be removed. So yeah, I think there's, I don't know, I feel like, I don't know, how many teams do you think could be in the NFC before an AFC team is favored over them, right? Like I know, look at these odds. Like, is Buffalo favored against Philadelphia in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, probably. I think so.
You think so?
I mean, they're well, I guess what are they right now? 2.5-point home favorites. So it'd be like
true.
Pick them.
Get it this week.
So it'd be like straight up like maybe -1 in the Super Bowl, like pick basically.
Yeah.
I think whatever home field advantage is basically I think shifted from like 2.5 to like 1.5 now. I think something like that.
Same thing like Denver. Philly's probably favored.
Yeah.
Slightly.
I would think so. I also think Philly could. I honestly don't mind them. Honestly, as a team that's like on paper a legit really good team, do they just have like terrible vibes right now? And then maybe win a couple games, things change pretty quickly. I mean, they won that Washington game. If they win against Buffalo, that would be. I mean, AJ Brown's not writing things on Instagram anymore, and not crying to anyone.
I know Patriots fans can be insufferable. The Philly fans are absolutely the worst.
Oh
Like,
man.
first of all, you guys won last year's Super Bowl. You were currently the defending Super Bowl champs. You're like in these games up by double digits. And if you go on Twitter, you just very easy to stumble into just a bunch of Philly fans bitching and moaning about the offensive coordinator and like all this different stuff. It's like you're 10-5 defending champs. You're going to win the division, host playoff games again. And like, you can't just stop yourself from complaining all the time. It's tough.
I love that they were booing that like during the Bears game, they were just like the offense was getting booed off the field like the entire game. I thought that was just so funny. I was like, this is crazy. They're like 10 weeks, 12 weeks into the next year after winning the Super Bowl, and they're just like ready to fire everyone.
Thank you, Adam. Adam's in the chat. Appreciate you hanging out, Adam. Most entitled fan base that there is. Absolutely embarrassing, and this is coming from an Eagles fan. So appreciate you owning it. Again, I will own my insufferableness as a Patriots fan. I think partially it's just like they had, New England fans have been there so much in all the sports over the last 25 years that like they definitely are entitled and feel like they, belong there. I just feel like we're a little less whiny and probably a little bit more annoying, like in your face when we win, but like complaining about our teams a little bit less. So yeah, like Adam, everyone's tired of both of us, I promise. So we'll love to meet again and get retribution for some of the a stolen Super Bowl from a couple years ago. All right, nothing else jumps out. I think it's fascinating that the Ravens and Lions have better Super Bowl odds than the Panthers, who are currently, a division leader and not definitely, but more likely in the playoffs, where the other teams are basically all but eliminated. It tells you all we need to know about.
What would you need? They're 80-1 to win the NFC right now. What would you? I don't think I'd bet them at like less than 100.
No chance.
Even if they're at 100, I might need 200, honestly. Like maybe 150. Like you're still just burning money.
Yes. Again, I'll bet on a golf outright at 100 or 120, and I think that guy has a chance to win, right? Even though the math would tell me he doesn't really. But Wyndham Clark at the U.S. Open, cashed that ticket at 120 to 1. I'm like, that was an egregious number. He shouldn't be 121. And so it happens. But I don't feel like that happens in football. Like we don't have those paths very, very often because there's
they got to win 3 games to even, right? So it'd be like wild card divisional, and then So I mean they'd have to beat 3 of these teams. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. What's wild is that one of these 2 teams that's at the top is going on the road in either Carolina or Tampa in the first week of the playoffs. they not only don't get the bye, but they actually, it's crazy.
That's brutal.
See, player futures, the awards are kind of dialed. Drake May got a little shorter in the MVP odds. Josh fell back a little bit. It's definitely a 2-man race between Matthew Stafford and Drake May for MVP. I think we've been trying to time it. If you've been flop-flopping in this market a little bit, it made sense that Stafford would get out regardless of what happened, having the Thursday night game by himself. And then obviously Drake May having a Sunday nighter and getting that win last night helped to close the odds there a little bit. Defensive player of the year, we haven't been able to bet for over a month because Myles Garrett is a runaway. We touched on the offensive rookie of the year. I do kind of think it's a 2-man race now. Travion was in the mix and obviously fell out with not really being able to participate last night. Tyler Shutt, I think, is still pretty interesting here at almost 4-1. You love to see this. This got back to where it belongs. Nick Amori. I have pieces of all 3 of these guys, so I felt like I was okay, but I went significantly more with the Carson Schlesinger win, and that ballooned back out after getting down to like minus 200 or so heading into the week.
Wow.
Eamon Warwick cooled off a little bit. Pierce continues to play really good ball. He's got like a sack in 7 straight games. He's the dude, legit dude. But a little too late. So awards are kind of tough this year.
Good job in this market, though. I mean, you got the early Schlesinger ticket, and so I mean that's looking good right now.
Yeah, I needed that to balloon back out. It was making me a little nervous. So, comeback play of the year is fascinating. Again, you and I don't touch much on this because I don't know how to handicap what it is.
Philip Rivers, 35-1.
So Philip Rivers is 35-1. He opened at 17 before playing a snap. I think like he was in that range, like short of 20. He got down to like 9 and now hasn't played. Nothing's changed, and now he's back out to 35 because Trevor Lawrence pushed him down.
What who else do they play? I mean, because they can. I mean, the Colts. I know, like they're not like technically in the play. They could still technically make the playoffs, right? Like, I mean, they could. I mean,
Barely. I think it's Jacksonville,
yeah,
San Fran tonight, Jacksonville, and then I think Tennessee.
I mean, that's tough. If they made the playoffs, he would definitely win. But
Yes.
they were just going to jam it to Jonathan Taylor. That's kind of the problem.
Oh, the Texans. Never mind. Not Tennessee.
Oh,
even worse.
That's way harder, actually.
And that matters. I mean, both these teams kind of need, for playoff position, need those games. So they do technically have a 3% chance to make the playoffs. They need to win out. And then to win out, need help. Yeah. So 80%, low 80% if they win out, but they still need help. So tough. Yep. That's it. Draft. This is it's some bad football teams. 6 teams that are 2 or 3 wins. But the 2 teams with 2 meet this week, which like we said is pretty impactful. So
wild.
Because they have the Jets have to get an answer quarterback. They have the ammo. Actually, if they wanted to move up, they definitely would be, if this is a spot where like the Giants get the pick and want to lock in with Jackson Dart. It could be something the Jets look to make a move. And I don't know what the Browns think. I don't know what's happening with the Browns coaching staff. I don't know if Shador's done enough, but they definitely have a need for quarterback. So,
yeah.
And then I think with the Cardinals, you see maybe another Jacoby Brissett bridge year. I think he's under contract for 1 more year. Who knows? They could also be in the mix. And Titans obviously have the answer. So yeah, tough. Some bad teams.
A lot of bad teams.
I mean, this is just fascinating right here, though, when you get into Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens, like in this little spot. We're just so not used to seeing that.
Right? If they land like a good player, then and their whole team's healthy, they're just going to catapult right back up.
Yep. Fascinating. All right, got anything else for us?
I don't think so. I mean, we're on some Kittle overs tonight. I would love to see the Niners pull ahead by a lot and then watch Phillip Rivers throw the ball 40 times, just because I think it'd be like fun to watch. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see like 30 carries from Jonathan Taylor probably. Yeah,
they'll try to do it. Worked fairly well last week against Seattle. I don't think they have much success. I think Purdy alts. I think Purdy could have a nice day. Like you said, we're on the Kittle stuff. I think Juwan Jennings could cook. I think they're gonna have a hard time again with Charvarius Ward out. Like the secondary is just kind of beat up for the Colts. So and I actually kind of like just 5.5 on San Francisco as well. So team total, I think all just kind of nuclear scenarios for the Niners room play. So all right. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Check out SharpStack, promo code survey, $10 first month. Gets you in a drawing to win SharpStack for life, BetSports Golf for life. Great deals. Come back on Friday. Connor, Stu, and myself for Prop Drop. Appreciate it. Make sure you take advantage. Have questions on SharpStack, let us know. For Connor, I'm Ryan. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks, everybody.